Hi guys, my name is Chelsea and I blog over at makingmanzanita.com and I'm really excited to be with you at Hometalk today. We are going to be making some fun DIY gifts that you can give as Christmas presents this year, and they make great stocking stuffers. So we're going to jump right, we're going to be making a few different things, so I'm going to be moving a little fast today. But if you have any questions, put them in the comments. So first up, we're going to be making a leather keychain, and this leather that I'm using for the keychain is recycled, if you can't tell. It's pretty tragic looking. But what we're going to be using it for, you will not even be able to see that. So it's a great way to use any scrap leather. I actually got this leather by taking apart a couch that was going to the dump. So it was a bunch of free leather. I got it from someone off Craigslist. So as we get going here, as I mentioned in the beginning, my name's Chelsea and we're making some DIY gifts today. And if you could let us know where you're tuning in from in the comments below, that would be great. We're in Oregon. So what I started off with is I cut a strip of the reclaimed leather, and it was 3/4 of an inch wide. So that's our first measurement. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to cut some slits up the leather, and those are going to be 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to have 3 of those. And if you're just tuning in, we are making a leather. The first gift we're going to be making is this braided leather keychain. And we're going to make a few other things out of leather too. So we're making leather DIY Christmas gifts. Okay, so that's our first slit. We're going to make one more, also 1/4 of an inch wide. So the whole piece is about 3/4 of an inch wide, and we are cutting 3 slits because we're going to braid this, and you need 3 pieces to braid. Okay, and I'm using this tool that I'm using to get my lines nice and straight is a rotary tool. If we have any seamstress people out there, you guys probably have one of these, but it works really handy for this type of stuff to cut nice and straight. And then this is just a cutting mat and an acrylic ruler. So those are the 3 tools we're using. So I left about 1.5 inches up at the top, and this piece is, probably doesn't need to be quite this long. It's about 9 inches. So this is gonna be a little longer than the one I've already made, but that's okay. I'm actually gonna cut, there's a little paint on the end of this. Let me just trim that off real quick. Okay. Okay. So we're going to start braiding here. So this one is really simple. And these DIY gifts that we're making today will only take you a few minutes each. So that's why they're great little gifts you can give as Christmas gifts this year. I love making Christmas gifts for friends and family, and they seem to like receiving them. Have any questions so far while I'm braiding?
Yeah, are you French braiding?
Nope, this is just a regular braid.
Oh.
So 3 pieces. I don't think there's any real name for this braid. It's just kind of the standard braid.
Perfect. And we have people tuning in from, looks like Texas, Michigan, North Carolina, Nevada.
Awesome.
And Maryland. So lots of places.
Yeah, lots of places today. I don't know if I think I may have mentioned this at the beginning, but we are filming this in Central Oregon today. And as I mentioned, we are busy preparing for Christmas. And I've got lots of DIY gifts in the works. I think I'm done with my holiday shopping, but I got lots of DIYs I still want to make. So one question I would love for you guys to answer in the comments is, what sort of DIY gifts are you guys giving this year? I know that Hometalk is full of a crowd of DIYers, and that's why I love you guys. You're always so inspiring. So I'd love to know what kind of gifts you're giving this year to your friends and family. Is there something you made? Is there something you make every year and they look forward to? Let us know in the comments.
The only question that popped up is, what's our weather like?
Oh, our weather is pretty, I haven't gone outside all day. It's pretty brisk out there, but no snow here yet. We're in Bend, so no snow. Okay, I forgot to cut a little. I gotta cut one more piece. Hold on. I'm just gonna hold this, but you're probably gonna wanna cut this before you get going. So we need to cut one piece to kind of tie this up. So you can cut it the 1/4 of an inch. So it's kind of similar width as the other ones, and it doesn't need to be that long, just a couple inches. So I'm just gonna cut this real quick. And this will help hold down the braid we just did. Okay. All right, guys. So we finished braiding, and this is just a normal braid. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna use this glue here. And this is 3-in-1 glue. I use it as an alternative to hot glue. It works great holding this leather in place.
I'll show them after.
Yeah. I should have put it upside, the glue kind of gets stuck in it. I should have put it upside down before the video, but I forgot, so.
Well, people are making wreaths and fleece blankets, flannel ornaments.
Blankets, that's always a good DIY gift.
Yeah.
It's very easy. See, I'm just putting a little dot of glue to hold the braid in place. So there's that. And then what I'm gonna do is wrap this other piece around here that we cut here. And this only needs to be, where are my scissors? There you go. This only needs to be like 3 inches wide, I would say. So I'm just gonna add a little glue to the back of the leather cord, and then we're just gonna wrap it around the bottom, and this will keep our braid nice and secured. And I'll wrap around a few times here. And it probably, I don't think it needed to be quite that long, so I'm gonna trim off the extra. So maybe like 2.5 inches for the size on that. Okay, so that's gonna secure our braid at the end. It's nice, and the glue sets up pretty quickly. I'm gonna hold it down just for a few seconds, but it dries a lot like hot glue, so it's pretty quick on setting. So as you can see, we have these kind of pieces hanging down here. To fix that, you can just cut a straight line at the bottom. And by the way, the scissors I'm using today, I also recommend. They work good on this leather. These are Tim Holtz tonic scissors. So I use them for a bunch of different crafting stuff. They do make leather scissors too. I don't personally have any. Okay. So the next step here is putting the keychain on, and we're pretty much done. It's just a simple braided keychain. So this is what the packaging looks like for the keychain pieces that I purchased, and I got them at Joann's. I think you can get them on Amazon too. The packaging may look a little different on that if you buy them on Amazon. I couldn't find the exact brand. So the piece that I'm using for this keychain is called an 8-shaped key ring. And I had never really seen it before, but as you can see, it kind of looks like an 8. It's got a big loop at the bottom. So what I did is just kind of loop it in the big part of the 8, and then just add some glue. And then we're just gonna kind of fold this over. And then just pull that keychain up. Okay. So if you're just tuning in, don't worry. I know it looks like we're wrapping up, but we're doing a few different crafts today. So they're all gonna be really quick and really simple, but little simple DIY gifts that you guys can give at Christmas time. So this was our first one. It's a braided keychain. We took a strip of leather that was 3/4 of an inch wide. We cut 3 pieces all the way up until about 2 inches were left at the top. And those were 1/4 of an inch each. We braided it down, and then we glued the bottom and wrapped another piece around there. And then we attached this 8-shaped key ring to the top and glued it on. And then you can just attach this to your keys. So that's our first one. And I have one more keychain type craft that we're gonna do next. So I'm just gonna set this right here, and we're gonna keep on going.
People want to know if you can punch a hole in the top of that keychain that you just made.
Yeah, you could. I don't know how. I think wrapping it around the keychain and gluing is going to be a little more secure rather than a hole. I would just be worried about a hole ripping eventually. So that's why I chose to do it that way, but you totally could. Especially if you have it'll be easier if you have a leather hole punch. But depending on the thickness of your leather, you may be able to do it without a hole punch. So I'm just going to kind of open this other leather up. So as I mentioned at the beginning, I found a way to get free leather, which I've been using a lot for crafting. So this actually came from a recliner of ours that we tore apart. That was completely ruined by my dog. And then the lighter brown came from a couch we got off Craigslist for free that someone was getting rid of because it was pretty damaged. So we're using two different types of leather today. So the next keychain we're going to be making is, we're going to be starting with a square of leather. Here we go. And it needs to be 8 by 8. So I'm just going to cut this down real quick. I'm just going to cut this piece off here. Little piece that didn't go. There we go. All right, so we need it to be 8. So I'm just gonna measure this. I don't quite have enough to do 8. That measurement is kind of loose though. So we're gonna do a little bit of a smaller one. So it'll be about 7 once I get this other piece cut up. All right, are we getting any good answers to my question about what people have been DIYing for gifts this year?
No, but people have a fun question of why you don't like to tear leather versus cut it.
This leather is pretty thick. I couldn't tear it if I tried. Since this was, both the kinds of leather that I'm using today were originally furniture, they're just a little bit too strong to tear. So that's why, if I'm working with fabric, I usually tear it. Okay, so cutting a square here. And this next one is fun. This keychain we're making is actually going to be a tassel. So I don't know about you guys, but I love tassels. So we are making a square about 7 inches by 7 inches. And this can be kind of, the size of the tassel will vary as you get smaller and larger, obviously. So you could do 8 by 8, 6 by 6. Anything in that range would be a good keychain size. Okay, so here's our square. We're all good on that. So what I'm going to do real quickly is I'm just going to take a Sharpie for my own benefit here. And I'm just going to draw a line up at the top. And since we're going to be making a tassel, we want to have we're going to be cutting slits all the way up this, and I want to kind of have a stopping point for myself. Don't worry, you're not going to see that. We're on the back side of the leather here. So, all right, so next we're going to start cutting our pieces. And the slits I'm making in this are very similar to the leather, or the braid keychain we made. They're 1/4 inch wide. Let's see, get a little bit harder. So I'd love to know if you guys have done any fun projects with leather. Since I skinned both a recliner and a couch, I have a ton of it out in my garage. I've been having fun making lots of projects. But I'd love to know if you guys have ideas for ways to use it. If you've ever done anything.
While we're waiting for that, people are making snow globes, actually.
Snow globes?
I don't even know how you do that.
I know, I've seen some done with like mason jars before. I've actually made one before. It was kind of a fun project.
Yeah. This gal made leather earrings before.
Oh, leather earrings. That's actually on my to-do list. I want to do that someday. So, one thing here, if you guys do not have this rotary cutter tool that I'm using, which is what I'm cutting with, you can totally use scissors on this. It's going to take just a little longer and your lines might not be perfect, but we actually, I made these fun keychains with a group of girlfriends last week, and I didn't bring my rotary cutter tool along because we were in a coffee shop. So we used scissors and it worked fine. So if you're worried about having to invest in this tool, don't worry about it. It does make it pretty helpful though. So since this is kind of boring to watch, I'm gonna actually probably cut this one in half and just make it a little bit smaller so you guys don't have to watch me do this whole thing.
Well, people want to know what you're making that have joined late.
Yes.
So that way you can cut a little bit more strands.
Okay, so we are doing some DIY gifts today. So we've already made one, if you want to show them the braided one. So that is our braided leather keychain. So that's the one we already made. And this is another keychain, so we're making 2 keychains today. This is going to be a tassel. Tassels are really kind of trendy right now, so I thought it would be perfect for a keychain. All right, I think we're probably good. It's not going to be as thick as my other ones you'll see in the pictures, but that's okay. You'll get the concept. I'm going to cut it all the way up. So if you were doing this, you probably would continue and do the full square. But just in the interest of time, we're going to cut it a little short today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut one more piece, which we will be using as a hanger up at the top. I'm going to cut one more strip all the way off of our piece here, and that's also a 1/4 inch wide. Goodness.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. All right, so we just want to have this piece handy for when we're done. All right, so now that we have all of our fun pieces cut, actually got one little strip here, we're going to start making the tassel, and you guys are going to be shocked how easy this is. You may have done this. This is like a really popular thing to do if you have like tissue paper and you're making like a garland for like a party. So you may have done, it's kind of a similar concept. Okay, so this is our hanger piece, and this is the piece that's actually going to attach to the keychain. And I'm going to cut it down so it is about 3 inches. And then we're going to grab our glue. And again, this is the same glue we were using for the other one. This is 3-in-1 craft glue. Okay, and I'm going to just add everything above this line. I'm going to add lots of glue to, not too much, but you want to be sure it's covered. And then we're going to put our hanger on and just going to loop it. So that's going to be the hanger. And I'm going to put it on one side here. I'm actually going to add just a dot of glue so it stays closed on the hanger. There we go. All right, and then I'm just going to turn this around. So you want the hanger to be in the middle of the keychain. So you're going to start rolling on the side that you put your hanger. And then you're going to try to keep your hands out of the glue so it doesn't get too sticky, and then you just kind of roll it up as tightly as you can and try to keep it straight up at the top as well. So there we go. So I'm just going to hold this until the glue sets. Usually takes about 30 seconds or so for the glue to set and be strong. I wouldn't recommend using it as a keychain for probably like 24 hours just to make sure the glue is cured and it's nice and strong. But it'll be fine to take my fingers away in about 30 seconds. So, and this is our little tassel. So this one's a little thinner than the one that I made just because I did cut it in half. So you can see here, if I would have kept going, this is kind of how full it would have been. So it's a little bit different, as you can see. You can kind of make it however you prefer. And if you wanted it to be shorter, you could make them shorter too. So that's our leather tassel keychain. So both of these keychains work great as like stocking stuffers for Christmas presents this year. And what I'm going to do is I'm just taking one of these are called lanyard hooks, and this just comes in that keychain accessory little pack that I bought. I got that at Joann's. we're just gonna loop that in here. And then you would just attach that to your keychain. So that's our second craft of the day. So we're just gonna keep moving. We have 3 to get through, so we've got 1 more. So I'll put these over here if anybody wants to see those while I'm moving on. Okay, so the last craft today that we're gonna be making is leather bookmarks. More leather. So I'm just gonna be using some of this piece. As you can see, it's kind of damaged, but I kind of like that. I kind of like the reclaimed rustic look of it. I actually needed to take this out. I just need to make one more cut here. So our bookmark is going to be 1.5 inches wide. So that'll be our first cut here. And we're gonna make this one 7 inches long. So I think they can be pretty much between 6 and 7 inches long. When I made mine earlier, that's the size that I kept with. Just want to make sure they're nice and straight. It's pretty obvious if they're not straight once you get it cut. So, okay. I'm just gonna do a nice clean cut at the top here. Any questions that you've seen so far?
Yeah, people want to know where you can get recycled leather other from their own couches and their own recliners.
So some other good tips that I would recommend. I'm actually going to cut this one a little angled. I think that's kind of fun. Okay. So another good tip that someone told me is you could buy leather pants or leather jackets at thrift stores. So that's another good way to find like recycled leather. Other than that though, I mean, I can't really, if you guys have ideas about other things besides furniture or clothing, let me know. Maybe you could hit up if there's a leather company or a leather store in your town. See if they have any scraps that they're going to throw in the trash. I don't know. Okay, so what I'm doing on this, so I cut my piece where it's 1.5 inches wide and it was 7 inches long, and I kind of angled the bottom of it. And then I'm taking these stickers. These are just regular old like scrapbooking alphabet stickers. And I took off a letter, and this is kind of like a initial one. So this is the letter of the person that I'm going to give this bookmark to, and she's in my family, so if she's watching, she'll probably know who she is. So there's my letter down at the bottom. And now this is the fun part, which you'll probably be shocked. I found this way. I actually saw it on another blog of staining leather. I had never really, I mean, I know of leather stain, but I didn't want to have to buy it. This was a way I could stain leather using something that I already had in my house. So this is furniture wax. I'm using a home decor, the Folk Art brand, and this is their antique color. But if you guys have any other furniture wax, I know Annie Sloan makes a good brand that you may use. So if you guys do furniture painting, you'll probably have some dark wax in your supplies already. So this actually worked great on leather too. So I'm just we're going to be staining the leather, and the reason I put down the sticker is because that piece is going to be lighter and everything else is going to be darker. So that's kind of the effect I'm going for here. So I'm just going to kind of rub this stain on, or this wax, and it's just going to make the leather darker everywhere except where I have the sticker. And you can get real creative. When I was making our other ones that I made for my blog post, I'll show you those in a minute here, I made some of my own stickers too out of like contact paper. So I made some mountains down at the bottom. Those were really easy to cut out myself, a mountain shape. You could use like painter's tape too if you don't have contact paper. Okay, just a little bit more here. So did anybody else know this trick about staining leather with like furniture type wax? I'd love to know if you've heard this. I was surprised when I saw it on another post, and it works great.
No, while people are answering that, someone said that you can get leather from old, like, bags or purses.
Yeah, that's another thing I didn't mention.
Jackets.
Bags. Yeah, I said jackets and pants, but yeah, purses. Like, seriously, take a look at your thrift store. You'll probably find some stuff really cheap that you could cut up and repurpose, or even stuff that's been damaged. Like if you have a leather purse that has a hole in it or a big stain, you can use it. Okay, so if I was going to be doing this not on a video, I'd probably just let this sit for 24 hours while the wax dries. But since we're on the video, we're not going to wait for it. So there is our D. And so that part stayed light, and then the rest didn't. So any sort of shape that you put down there or sticker that you find will stay lighter. You could even do like stripes or something. That may be fun. So for the top, we need to add our like little hanger up at the, or it's not a hanger, I don't know what it would be called, at the top of a little topper for our bookmark. And what I'm going to do, I don't have a leather hole punch. It's on my Christmas list this year, so I'm going to get one soon. But in the meantime, using kind of just scissors works great too. And I'm just making a little X because we're just going to be running a string through here. So there, that works perfect. And then I'm going to be using leather cording. And these are just some fun colors I found. I'm going to use this blue one. So I'm going to cut a piece. I want it to be about that long. So this is probably about 8 inches, maybe a little longer. And all you do is just loop it. And you're just gonna push it through the hole you just made with your scissors, or if you have a leather hole punch. And take your strings, and there we go. See how simple that was? You can make all sorts. I'm gonna show you my other designs here on the bookmarks here in a minute. So there's one, so that's our bookmark, and then I'm gonna show you the other ones I've made. So this is our other one I made. It was kind of the same initial. Here's one I put heart stickers down, and then I actually painted some acrylic craft paint down at the bottom, so you could paint on these too. So here's one where I made my own sticker. I made a cross out of some contact paper. I just cut that out. And then I used paint pen on here to write. So here's another one I made, and this is again paint pen. And then I had made this little mountain shape out of contact paper. I just kind of made my own sticker on that. So you can kind of see some other options, but these, I mean, you can customize these and get creative as you want on the leather bookmarks. So I'm going to do a quick recap as we wrap up here for anybody that missed the beginning, so you know if you want to go back and watch or not. So this was our first thing we made was a leather keychain, and I'll set it right down here. It was made with, the strip was about 3/4 wide, and then we cut slits up of it, braided it, glued it, and then attached it to a keychain. And this is the other leather keychain we made. We made a tassel. So that was our 2 other projects, and then we made the bookmarks. So I had so much fun hanging out with you guys today. If there are any questions that we did not get a chance to answer during the live, feel free to just pop them in the comments below. I'm going to be back on probably in like a day or 2 to read through all the comments and make sure we didn't miss anything. So if you have a burning question, let me know. Once again, my name is Chelsea. I blog at Making Manzanita. And when we sign off, there's going to be a button for you to subscribe. So you definitely want to push that so you can subscribe to Hometalk videos going forward, so you'll get notified every time we go live. All right, hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Bye.